Hi, my name is Bob from Nothing But Games.
My name is Lies, and today
We're gonna be playing Arakan Wars. Today we will be playing with the 2019 edition Demo Box.
It contains 4 pre-built decks of 23 cards. Each deck has a total of 125 points.
With the expansions, you will be able to build your own decks.
It also contains a set of faction tokens, a rulebook, and a battle mat.
And the card design will change as well and will be much better.
A game of Arakan Wars lasts 9 rounds. The goal is to have more points on the battlefield than your opponent. To do so, you must destroy his creatures and conquer his lands.
So yes, what faction would you like to play today?
the white lands will be just fine.
The white land factions, or to simplify, the blue deck. We like to call it the blue deck. It has a lot of really strong defensive values in its cards and a lot of mobility, which is very important in Arakan Wars. Elias, can you tell us a little bit more about the white lands and the lore behind the faction?
So the white lands are to the north of Arakan.
In the story of Arakan, they are inhabited by the Ice People, ruled by the Queen Davinella, a powerful sorceress.
Long story short, they are the good guys.
The blue deck is alright, even if I prefer red or green, but someone has to be the nice guy in this video.
Well, in that case, I will pick the red deck, which is the Mirkor deck.
The red deck is by far my favorite. It's just so nasty.
They are the bad guys.
Precisely, and this deck, the red deck, has a lot of really strong attack values, very low mobility, and really vicious sorcery. So now comes the time where normally we would shuffle the decks, but since they are pre-shuffled, we don't have to do that. We're just going to place them right here in the draw pile. Shall I go first?
You shall.
Round 1!
Alright, so every round has the same 5 steps. Step 1, the draw phase. And since this is the first round, we're going to be drawing 7 cards.
The following rounds we will draw only 2.
So yes, what do you think?
I'm very satisfied with my first draw.
Alright, well, so am I. So now step 2. And step 2 is the card placement phase.
The first 2 cards that are placed during the game, if placed on the battlefield, must be placed within the green rectangle. The player beginning the round must place 2 cards face down from his hand, one after the other, either on the battlefield, or one on the battlefield and the astral plane, or both on the astral plane. Then his opponent does the same. All the cards that are placed on the battlefield must be adjacent to any other card.
Step 3, the reveal phase.
The players reveal at the same time their cards and place their faction tokens on the gem icon. Here we can see we have 4 creature cards because they have a black outline.
At this moment, we will be placing the faction tokens on the cards.
The faction tokens have several uses. 1. They are used to track which cards have been activated and those who have yet to be. 2. They indicate to which player the cards belong. And 3. They are used by certain card mechanics.
Step 4, activation phase.
Since I started the round, I will activate all the cards I can activate, then it will be Lies's turn.
So right now, we can see that he has his Nihilist Penguin.
I could attack his Nihilist Penguin with my Swamp Troll because they're adjacent. You can usually only attack creatures and lands that are adjacent to your cards. However, Shield of Dawn adds +1 in defense to the Penguin. Thus, the Penguin has 2 in defense value, my Troll only has 2 in attack value. In Arakan Wars, to successfully defeat an enemy card, you must have at least 1 point over their defense value.
So, since we can't move the cards that don't have a specific attribute right now, I cannot do anything. So, it's your turn, Lias.
Obviously, I cannot defeat your troll with my penguin, so I retreat.
The Nihilist Penguin has the movement attribute. This attribute allows you to move a number of spaces anywhere on the battlefield. This number is equal or inferior to the number mentioned after the word movement. The card must always end its movement in an available space and adjacent to another card, allied or enemy.
1, 2.
After you activate a creature card, you must flip the faction token on the deactivated side.
I like to play my penguins early. It gives me more control of the battlefield.
Can you do anything else? Yes?
Nothing else.
Alright, so now step 5, end of round phase.
Every token on the deactivated side is flipped back to its original side.
Okay, so this is the end of the first round, so on to round number 2.
Round 2!
From now on and until the end of the game, during the draw phase, we will only be drawing 2 cards. So since I went first during the first round, now we switch and it's Lies's turn to go first.
One round is enough to test the waters. Now it's time to get busy. In this round, I'll be placing a land card. It has a brown outline. When they are defeated, they are conquered and not destroyed. We'll see what this means later in the game. This particular land card pumps up all my adjacent creatures' attack value, giving them +2.
So now it's the activation phase, and this little guy right here has initiative and Omnistrike.
Initiative allows him to attack before the player going first activates his cards. It's one of the most powerful attributes. And Omnistrike means that when he attacks, all adjacent enemy creatures are targeted at the same time. And thanks to the Western Forges, he has 3 in attack.
This guy goes first.
So aggressive, so soon.
The Berserker has 3 in attack value and the adjacent enemy creatures only 2 in defense. So when he attacks, they are defeated. When a creature is defeated, it is destroyed and goes in the discard pile. And this is all I'm going to do this round, but that's going to be enough to piss him off.
Now it's your turn, Lies.
You suck! I choose to do nothing.
Okay, so step 5, end of round phase. And now on to round number 3.
Round 3! Since this round I go first, I'm gonna place my cards around my Western Forges land card. The reason for this is because you don't want to leave too much access to it. If you get your land card conquered early on, it could be game over for you, and I'm not even gonna attack his cards.
He was smart protecting his land, but I wasn't gonna go for it.
Lies plays his Fortress of Myr, which increases his allied creature's defense value by 2.
Alright, so none of my cards are adjacent to his, so I can't do anything. Can you do something, Lies?
Of course I can.
What can you do?
I believe I can fly.
So I'm going to fly over here.
So the flight attribute allows you to move the card that has it anywhere on the battlefield to the border of an adjacent card and then attack.
With my 2 eagles.
Lies is going to do a group attack here with his 2 eagles on the ogre. The 2 attack values are then added.
And kill you, ogre.
Yes, indeed. Kill my ogre. Alright. Can you do anything else? Gonna move your penguin, maybe, maybe not.
Nothing else.
Nothing
Come on.
else. Alright, so end of round phase. Alright, on to the next round.
Round 4!
This time, yes, you start.
Let's go.
Lies is wisely protecting the sides of his fortress, but I have a surprise for him.
When he puts those 2 cards next to my fortress, I had a very bad feeling. This is not good.
Ooh.
This is a spell card. It has a purple outline. They don't get a token because once they have been used, they are discarded. This one has an attack value of 2 and the range attack attribute, allowing it to attack up to 3 spaces beyond its borders.
So I'm going to try a strategic maneuver in order to be in a better position for future rounds.
Here comes the pain, yes. Now I will attack his fortress using my Child Eater and Fire Lightning.
I'm going to do a group attack to conquer his land. When you defeat a land card, it is not destroyed, it is conquered. The land then belongs to the victor. It benefits him and then he gets to add its points to his final score at the end of the game. Perforation. The way this attribute works is once the adjacent card is defeated, the physical attack moves forward onto the enemy creatures or lands on the same line. The physical value decreases by 1 for each card after the first one that is defeated.
Okay, and so, and that's about it?
Round 5!
Ooh, nice. All right, I'll put this right here, and I'll put this right there.
If I can keep the Fortress of Myr, I don't see how I can lose.
From now on, no more mistakes.
All right, let's see what we got.
Gabriel.
This is Gabriel. He is a legendary creature. You can only have one of him in your deck. It is also one of the most important characters in the story of Arakan. And he has initiative, so he is going to strike first here.
The secret weapon.
Nice move, Lies.
Thanks. I will kill your Slayer.
Okay, so I can't do anything, so now it's your turn.
I have several ways of getting back in the game, and I have a plan.
So my eagle will attack your ogre here.
Ouch. Ouch.
And I begin the next round. That's why I can be adjacent
Smart
to
move.
the Child Eater.
Smart, exactly, because otherwise it would just eat your eagles.
Okay, so I move my penguins here.
Here Lies is maneuvering wisely to set up the reconquest of the Fortress of Myr that was once his.
With my griffin, I will kill your berserker.
Quite a bit has happened during this round, and that's why we have tokens to keep track. Alright, so on to round number 6.
Round 6!
Protect my fortress.
You mean win back your fortress? It's my fortress. Alright.
Getting back my fortress shouldn't be too hard now.
Ready for this?
Seriously, Bob! You.
So the Berserker is back, because I had 2 in my deck, which Les did not know. And I have the Plague Collector. The Plague Collector is a very powerful creature that neutralizes the attributes of the enemy creatures.
The Plague Collector has a very powerful skill. One thing we didn't mention before is that skills take effect during the whole game.
Alright, so since I have initiative with this guy, I will attack first. He has +2 from the Western Forge, which means that this card is defeated, and this card is defeated.
I can't complain.
And this little guy cannot move. Very unfortunate. What can you do, Yes?
Absolutely nothing.
Alright, so now it's my regular turn. So this Plague Collector has the +2 bonus. So 3 in attack value. Alright, that's the end of our round. And on to round 7.
Round 7! This spell card is placed on the Astral Plane. It has a specific logo. The reason for this is that it doesn't impact adjacent cards, but any card on the battlefield or all cards on the battlefield.
Very suspicious card placement. Alright, let's see what we got. I did not know he had a second Griffin in his deck. This is gonna do a lot of damage. Oh, what have we got over there?
Just read it.
Are you gonna do it right now?
It's your turn.
You're not gonna use initiative?
Nope. And why?
I know why. I can't do anything, so show us what you got.
I'm in a pretty good position to make a comeback.
I will do a group attack. Come here. And fly here. 2 plus 3, 5.
That was my biggest creature. On to round number 8.
Round 8!
All right. All right, you go first, Yes.
Let's go.
That's strange. That's more obvious.
Gabby.
Are you afraid,
Gabby.
Yes?
Gabby.
Are you afraid?
Yes.
The fear! I don't have any tokens to place because I'm only playing spell cards this turn. Okay, so let's read the board. So you start, but I placed one of the most powerful spells in the whole game. It's called the Fear, and what the Fear does is that all the enemy creatures that are adjacent to it are automatically deactivated. You can't play, you can't play. And just in case, I put this Firestorm, which has an effect. Effects last during the whole time the card is there, which means right now. So this has -1 in attack and defense, and -1 in attack and defense. All right, what have you got?
Let's go with the Ice Golem.
Okay,
3. So 3, 2. Beam, beam, 1 note.
so I cannot do anything. but I still maintain control of his fortress.
This could have been way worse. Since I begin the next round, should be an easy victory for me.
Okay, and now on to the final round.
Final round.
I start the final round. This should be an easy win for me.
He doesn't know what's coming.
Okay. I want to see that last card.
I'm always uneasy when I see something placed on the astral plane.
Okay, what's it?
Plus 1 attack to all allied creatures.
I don't believe this. Okay, so the Abominable Hydra will attack. And now the Swamp Hound has some backup. Forge Patriarch. Forge Patriarch has 4 in attack value, plus 3, 3 plus 4, 7. Okay, and so this is all I have to...
What?
I completely forgot. The Plague Collector.
The end.
I don't see how he can come back from this.
So, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Combo time!
So the paladin kills your nasty roach.
Alright, it's just 1 point. Nothing to be worried about.
Okay. So now my penguins can move here and group attack on the fortress.
How's that possible? Oh yes, the penguin has 1.
3 plus 1 plus 1, 5.
Beware of the penguin. It's by far the best card in the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is not finished.
What do you mean it's not finished? You can do something
Because
else?
my snow griffin with plus 1 attack can come here and kill you. Hydra?
Abominable Hydra.
Hydra, ça va juste être Hydra.
Once the 9th round is over, each player adds the values of the cards that have his faction token on it. This is how we find out who wins the game.
9, 10.
Is it going to be enough?
Still think I won.
5, 34.
33.
Yes!
Can't believe it!
Good game. Good game.
This game is so addictive.
Okay, so this was Arakan Wars. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was not rehearsed at all. So we will be launching our Kickstarter during the first half of 2021. Join our Facebook group, follow us on Instagram, stay tuned, many more exciting things to come in the future.